also be bringing in other IRS supervisors to testify. Greg?
We're pleased to welcome back to Victory News Virginia Congressman Bob Good. Welcome back, sir.
Great to be with you again. Thanks for having me.
No, thank you. Now, we have U.S. Marshals, we have the Department of Justice. So does having another redundant federal agency like the FBI invite corruption?
Well, I will say that among the many terrible things the Biden administration has done and among the many crises they've created, perhaps one of the worst is the loss of trust in one sacred federal institution. And you had some of the Republicans questioning Mr. Wray yesterday, who said that, the FBI is held in lower regard or lesser respect than even it was going back to the J. Edgar Hoover days. But you had very few answers coming out of Mr. Wray yesterday. He didn't seem to even know what's going on with his own department. And for some reason, always when they run amok, when they run afoul of their own policies or frankly against the Constitution or against the law, it always seems conveniently to be consistently against conservatives. It never seems to be against liberals or progressives or against Democrats. And so how could the American people have trust in this agency? It needs to be rooted out. It needs to be reduced funding. We need to end the plans to build them a new headquarters. We're trying to do that in the appropriations process here on the Republican side. They shouldn't have an expanded headquarters. We perhaps should move them to Huntsville, Alabama, full operations, as some have suggested. But we do have to not just replace the Attorney General, but we need to go deeper than that and deal with the FBI when we take control of the executive branch, hopefully come January 25.
Congressman, people do notice there seems to be a different set of rules depending on who you are. So the Secret Service, to that point, is closing the White House cocaine scandal without any conclusions or individuals held accountable. Are you surprised?
Not surprised. Unfortunately, I think most of us probably figured we would not get any true information out of this. I posted not long after the revelation about the cocaine being found, why don't we just ask the president's son? That's what everyone is thinking, of course, that when you have a convicted or a alleged felon anyway, perhaps soon to be a convicted felon, living in the White House with a drug history of illicit drug use, that might be where you want to start. And when the White House doesn't give answers, the Department of Justice or Injustice does not give answers, the FBI doesn't give answers, then what are we left to believe? We're led to conclude that there's something to hide. There's a reason why they're not being open with the American people. Many law enforcement experts have said, commentators have said, that this should be something they should have easily been able to discover, easily been able to determine. There should have been fingerprints on the materials that were found, the bag. Apparently that stories changed about where the bag was found, where it was recovered, and those stories changed day by day in the first few days after this was discovered. There's no wonder the American people don't have much confidence in this this executive branch of government.
Yeah, I can't make a mistake at Walmart in the self-check lane without getting caught in real time, without them sending somebody over to make sure I scan that. You'd think the White House could do it. Here we go. In a hearing of the House Committee on Education and the Workforce, you asked Paul Moore from the Defense of Freedom Institute about the University of Pennsylvania's Biden Center receiving millions of dollars from anonymous foreign sources. Here it is.
I think the American public should be very concerned about the undisclosed donor identities to UPenn, particularly leading up to the presidential election in 2020. It was after the establishment of the Biden Center that there was a very dramatic increase. I think reportable Gibson contracts were up 389% between 2018 and 19.
Should this be happening, and is it isolated
from affiliates of the Chinese Communist Party into institutions of so-called higher learning across the country? Again, billions of dollars. I don't know why we would permit foreign adversaries to donate to our institutions of higher learning. I don't know why we would allow them to establish Confucius Institutes on our campuses. I don't know, frankly, why we would allow students and graduate level students from foreign adversaries to be enrolled in our STEM programs at the graduate level. We've got an estimated $600 billion in annual theft of intellectual property by the CCP as it is now. And, my reports tell me that no one comes to study in the United States from China without the permission of the CCP. They have to maintain whatever contact they're required by the CCP with the Chinese government. So this is really compromising our national security. And to think that our institutions of higher learning are beholden, if you will, to donations from entities affiliated with the CCP, we ought to put an end to that. We ought to put a stop to that. And that hearing today was to try to expose that.
Congressman Bob Good of Virginia, sir, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you. Great to be with you.